California always reminds us of golden beaches, the Hollywood Hills, celebrity mansions, and all that things we see in the movies. But the truth is that this state hides realities that are far from beauty. Here on the Wandering Compass, we've already shown you the not-so-paradisaical face of Oakland, where gangs control entire neighborhoods, and everything happens on the streets in broad daylight. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out after this video, The Dark Side of Oakland, to understand how a California city can seem more like purgatory than an American dream. But Oakland isn't the only place that defies the Californian stereotype. In the middle of the Sonora Desert, there is a community that seems to have come out of a parallel universe, an isolated corner where there is no government, police, or rules. A place where everyone makes their own laws or simply decides to live without them. This place is called Slab City, and it is known both as the last free city in the United States and as a lawless land. But what does this mean in practice? What makes so many people go urban life for a piece of land with no electricity, no running water, and where the heat is unbearable? Is it just adventure, or is there something deeper behind it? Today, Wandering Compass takes you to one of the most dangerous places in America. Let's find out what life is like in Slab City and what really happens there. Before we understand life in Slab City, let's locate this peculiar piece of land on the map. It's located in California, in the middle of the Sonoran Desert. We're talking about an arid, hot, and isolated region about 160 kilometers northeast of San Diego, about 270 kilometers from Los Angeles, and approximately 80 kilometers from the Mexican border. Technically, Slab City can't even be called a real city. It was formed on land owned by the California government, but with no urban structure, no city hall, and no public services of any kind. The name comes from the concrete slabs that remain as vestiges of a decommissioned military base. And yes, we'll get to that part of the story in a moment. The climate? Well, let's just say it's not for the faint-hearted. Winter is bearable with temperatures between 15 and 25 degrees Celsius. But in summer, things change. 40 degrees Celsius is routine, and on some days, the thermometer easily passes 50 degrees Celsius. The dry air and the almost total absence of rain make everything even more extreme. The terrain is flat, dry, covered in sand and cacti, with no basic infrastructure nearby. To the east runs the Coachella Canal, which is responsible for bringing water to the region's agricultural areas. But inside Slab City, there is no such amenity. There is no running water. Each resident has to make do as best they can. This extreme isolation gives you an idea of why some people choose this lost corner of the map as a refuge. Some say that the absurd heat and lack of structure are a small price to pay for total freedom. But as we'll see, it's not all peace and love in this equation. Now, let's tell the story to understand how this place came to be. We need to go back to the Second World War in the 1940s. At the time, the U.S. government built a military training camp called Camp Dunlap, a strategic location to train anti-aircraft artillery and Navy personnel far from major urban centers. The camp officially functioned for 3 years, but with the end of the war, it gradually lost importance until it was completely shut down in 1956. The buildings were dismantled, and almost everything was removed. Almost everything. But one thing remained: the concrete slabs, which would give their name to what would come later. Without any plan for occupation, the government transferred the land to the state of California, and the area was sort of abandoned. That's when the first occupations began. And here comes the big question. How do these people manage without water, sewage, electricity, garbage collection, or a hospital? The answer is simple: every man for himself. Those who live there have to make do because there are no functioning public services. There's no town hall, no electricity bills, no garbage truck. Water is one of the biggest challenges. There is an irrigation canal nearby, the Coachella Canal, but the water there is undertreated and technically prohibited for human consumption. So most people buy water from water trucks or drive to the nearest town, Neeland, to collect gallons. Those who can store as much as possible to avoid frequent trips. Electricity depends on solar panels or gasoline generators. With a little investment, you can have a working fridge, a fan, and even a portable air conditioner. But if you don't have the money, you can rely on candles, lanterns, and moonlight. Sewage? Forget it. Those who can afford it dig rudimentary pits. Those who can't improvise with dry toilets or buckets. Garbage is also a problem. Some residents drive to landfills outside the region. Others simply burn everything, and many end up throwing it in vacant lots. Without public collection, the dirt accumulates. But what if someone falls in or has an accident? Then it gets complicated. The nearest hospital is 40 kilometers away in Brawley, and there is no ambulance in Slab City. If you can't get out on your own or rely on someone to help you, you're on your own. That's one of the risks of living far from any infrastructure. The economy? There is almost barter. Many people exchange services. Those who know electricity help install solar panels. Those who cook well sell food. Others repair engines, make crafts, or offer small repairs in exchange for essential items. There is no formal trade, but there is a way to survive. The truth is that Slab City is not for everyone. Freedom comes with brutal challenges. Those who stay learn to adapt. Those who can't leave. If, on the one hand, this piece of land is known for being a kind of no man's land, on the other, it has also gained fame for its artistic side. Two places stand out: Salvation Mountain and East Jesus. Salvation Mountain is a huge artificial hill covered in paint, straw, adobe, and concrete, created over almost 3 decades by Leonard Knight, a resident who believed in the message that God is love. He would receive donations of paint and spend entire days painting Bible verses and colorful drawings on the mountain. After his death, the mountain continued to be preserved by volunteers and became one of California's most eccentric attractions. East Jesus, on the other hand, is a veritable open gallery where giant sculptures made from scrap metal add a surreal touch to the desert. Cars covered in chaotic paintings, dolls hanging from trees, and walls erected from old bottles make this place a haven for experimental artists. It's a free space where anyone can create their own art, and many visitors to Slab City stop by to check out the crazy creations. Despite all the aura of freedom, Slab City's future is not guaranteed. The land belongs to the state of California, and from time to time, there are proposals to sell the area. There has been talk of turning it all into a solar energy farm, creating an environmental reserve, or simply auctioning off the land. As the law says that any money from the sale would go to the state teachers' pension fund, there is always some discussion about what to do with the site. The residents know this and are trying to organize themselves, creating community groups to fight against possible eviction. But this creates a dilemma. If they organize too much, they lose their anarchic spirit. If they don't, they run the risk of being evicted out of the blue. For the time being, Slab City continues to exist on the basis of uncertainty. It could go on like this for years, or it could be that from one day to the next, someone buys it all up and wipes out this last free city in America. Nobody knows what lies ahead, but until then, chaos and creativity continue to reign in this piece of desert where anything or nothing can happen. So, what did you think of this parallel universe called Slab City? Would you have the courage to give up city life and face the desert heat to live away from bills and laws? Tell us in the comments what your choice would be. If you like this content, share it with everyone who loves a curious story, And don't forget to subscribe to Wandering Compass to follow us on more adventures and unusual places. Thank you for being with us so far, and see you next time.